Hey guys, how's it going? I'm back. Sorry it's taking me so long to post a new video. Hope you're staying patient with me. Super appreciate it. Today we're starting something new. I put this out to you guys. What do you want to talk about? And the votes were back and we're going to do Old Testament heroes. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to look at people in the Old Testament. And here's the thing that we way too often do. We look at the people of the Old Testament and we think that, we do two things. One, we idolize them way beyond what the Bible does. Almost all of them, the Bible gives a big old nasty mark on, and we overlook this super huge wicked thing they do and say, look at how awesome it is. Don't you want to be like this person? All the while totally ignoring the heartbreak and devastation that they caused in a real moment of their life. Don't you want to be wise like Solomon? Dude, Solomon had like 1,000 wives, okay? No, you do not want that dude, okay? The other thing we do is because we're doing that, we idolize them. We're like, hey, we want to be like them. And so we try to put us in their shoes when we see their amazing, faithful achievements. But the Bible, most of the time, paints those achievements as a picture of Christ, not as a picture of something we can do or should hope to be like, but of Christ. And today's example will be, in my opinion, the most black and white and one of the best ones for us. And that's David and Goliath. So hopefully you know the story of David and Goliath. But David was a wee little shepherd boy, all right? He was tiny. He was the youngest of his brothers. And in fact, all his other brothers are out to war. They're fighting the Philistines. He's stuck at home where none of the action is, watching the sheep, okay? Dad says, hey, go take your brothers some food. They're over there across the hill fighting. So David does. And when he's over there, what's he see? He sees Israel, God's army, God's people, cowering to not God's people, the Philistines. He's like, what y'all doing? We God's people. Why aren't we fighting these? Don't you know we have God on our side? And they're like, yeah, but they have a giant on their side. And so out comes Goliath, this about 8 to 10 foot tall mammoth of a man. And he challenges Israel to one-on-one combat. Goliath versus anybody they want to send out there. And if he wins, Israel has to become Philistines' slaves. If Israel wins, Philistines will give up and be their slaves. And we all know the story. David says, I'll fight him. The king's like, no, you shouldn't, but if you're going to, here you go. And David goes, and with a tiny little slingshot as a tiny little boy, he kills this giant Goliath. And what we tend to do sometimes is we go, man, look at that. If you've got God on your side, you can conquer the biggest, baddest giants. You know how scary it must be walking through life with God and how Satan's going to be all up in your face. But if God's on your side, even if you don't know or have no good weapons like just a tiny little boy slingshot, you'll win. But that's not what this story is telling us at all. This story is about not how we can win. This story is about Christ. Christ is David, the God-man Jesus, who to others seemed puny and insignificant. To others just seemed like someone who was crazy and didn't know what he was doing, goes up against the biggest giant of them all, sin and death, which looks like this absolute case closed. Death and sin will beat this little peasant farmer or this little peasant carpenter from Bethlehem. But Jesus Christ, with God and the Holy Spirit, he slays sin and he slays death for us so that we would not be slaves to sin and to death, to the Philistines. Who are we in this story? Man, we're the cowering Israelites. It's who we are. We're scared to death of what's coming. And so that's our Old Testament hero for today, David. David's not us. We're not David. David is Christ. David's a picture of the one who came and fought a battle that we could not fight and could not win, and was victorious despite the most unlikely of victories through death and resurrection. Just like David was unlikely victor over a 8 to 10 foot giant with a sword with just a little boy slingshot. Love you guys. God bless.